Hello YouTube, it's TSP back again, the Super Psych, with another video. So today I want to do something a little different. I feel like I do a lot of basic psychoeducation and just giving information and kind of boring. Um, at least I feel kind of boring when I'm doing it. So I kind of just want to chat with you all, just have a real conversation. And I went shooting today, and so I'm gonna be cleaning my weapon during this, but just gonna have a real straightforward discussion about whatever, about things that I'm thinking, life, whatever comes to my mind as I'm cleaning this weapon. But today I shot my Glock 17, brought my Glock 19 with me as well, and my friend shot my 19. Um, so I'm gonna clean both these weapons. So I'm just gonna chat with y'all while I'm doing this. So this thing, I don't remember putting so much oil on this, but if you can see, there's like a lot of oil right there. Weapon is clear, clear. Let me take it down, but yeah. So I guess I put way too much oil on this. It looks actually pretty good. It doesn't look that dirty. Actually, it does in the slide. I think I put about only about 200 or so rounds through it today, so not too terribly many rounds. So it looks pretty good overall. But so something interesting happened yesterday. At least it was interesting to me. So yesterday I worked out and I deadlifted for the first time in like months. So I took my pre-workout and I take Mr. Hyde, which is an amazing pre-workout. Gets me super pumped and ready for my workouts. But I feel like it makes you kind of crazy. I feel like I get crazy whenever I take it. Like I'm walking around the gym and I probably look like a crackhead because I'll be making faces and stuff and I pace. I pace so much. Like if I don't talk to people, if I'm not interacting with people, so I like to talk to people when I'm at the gym. I meet lots of people, and so I talk to everybody. Like I don't care as dudes, girls. I talk to everybody at the gym. So I assume that girls probably assume that you're hitting on them if you talk to them, which is stupid. But I just talk to everybody. I talk to everybody at the gym. But anyway, I like pacing around and just feel crazy on Mr. High. But anyway, that's not even where I was going with the story. So after the gym, I'm still hyped. So I took a full scoop of Mr. Hyde, and I think it has like 400 plus milligrams of caffeine in it, and uh, I just felt so wired. So I feel like I start thinking crazy stuff when I take pre-workout. It's anybody who doesn't think that caffeine is a drug, you are sorely mistaken. It is very much a drug and very much a psychoactive drug. It's definitely going to change the way you think, and it changes types of things that I think when I'm before and after, or during and after a workout when I still have that stuff in my system. But anyway, driving home, and this homeless guy on the street, and I was driving up, and I was like, "Hey, I need to give him some money because, he looked like he was in a rough way, and I had cash on me, so I was like, hey, I'm definitely gonna give him some cash. Hopefully, he can get some food with it or whatever he's gonna do, get a beer. I don't know what he's gonna do with it. But anyway, as he walked up, this white guy, and I was like, I wonder what. I wonder if there's a homeless guy who's so racist that he wouldn't take money from me. And for some reason, I was like hoping that he'd be like, no, I'm not taking this money from you. And I thought for some reason I thought it would have been hilarious for this guy to be so racist and to hate black people so much that he wouldn't be willing to take the money from me. I don't know why I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious yesterday, but I don't find it so funny today. Like a little bit, but not the way I found it hilarious yesterday. Like I was like just cracking up to myself just thinking about that idea of somebody that racist that wouldn't even take money from me. But like I have all types of crazy thoughts when I'm taking pre-workout. Like you feel anybody else who's taken like a really powerful pre-workout like that, I feel like you probably have those types of thoughts too, right? If you have, comment down below and tell me about it because I have those all the time. I feel like Superman when I'm on Mr. Hyde. So I think I told you all about my hip. I know I told you all about my hip and how I have a torn labrum and torn adductor tendon. And yesterday, I was feeling so amazing that I was like, after I took the Mr. Hyde, I was like, I didn't push it, but I did more than I had initially planned to because I just felt so good. Like, I feel like my pain reception or receptors have been dampened by the caffeine. I don't know if that's the thing. I don't know if caffeine does that, but I wouldn't be surprised because my body just felt like I could do whatever. So I did like a nice little leg workout. I went up pretty gradually because I didn't want to hurt myself because it's the first time I'd done legs in a long, long freaking time. So I started off just like with the bar, doing RDLs, and then I switched to continue doing RDLs. And I apologize for the air conditioning, but I use an aerosol to help clean my weapon, and probably is going to give me cancer, so I'm going to leave that on so it's at least moving the air around so I'm not just breathing it in. But I forgot where I was talking about. I don't even know what I was talking about. I was talking about my workout. But anyway, yeah, let's start off at 135 doing more RDLs. Then I switched to doing deadlifts from the ground. At 225, worked my way up 315, 365, and then ended with 405 for a set of 5. So if you go on my Instagram, you can see that. I have that uploaded on my Instagram. And it actually went pretty well. I didn't hurt myself. Felt pretty good. So I was pretty happy about that. But, you know, deadlifting hasn't seemed to aggravate my hip as much. Like before I found out that my labrum and stuff was torn. What really aggravated it actually was squats. So I'm kind of nervous because I'm going to try to squat on Monday. And I haven't squatted in a long time. So I'm definitely going to be more cautious with squats just because I know it's going to put more pressure, more stress on my hip than deadlifts did. Gross. Too much. Okay, I need to use. But anyway, that workout went really well. And so I was really happy about that. So it's nice to get to do some legs again, get that adrenaline going, get that pump. There's nothing like it. You don't get that from upper body workouts. At least I don't. I broke up the carbon. I just need to dry out. But anyway, so back to the homeless guy. So I was also thinking, like, a lot of people don't like, you know, beggars. You know, they like think that they should get a job. You know, if they could get a job, that'd be awesome. And maybe sometimes they could. But I was just thinking about like what type of place you have to be in your life to be able to do that. Like even the people who like are making a lot of money from begging, you know, that you see on like NBC, Dateline, things like that, like the families that are driving off in nice cars. That's still a hard thing to do. You know, to put yourself in a position where you have to ask people for money. Like that still takes like work. 'Cause it's like humility that's tough. Like I can barely ask people to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, let alone go out and ask people for money day after day. No way in the world I could do that. Like that's I kind of respect it in a weird way. I respect it because I barely can ask for followers on my social media, let alone go out there and be somebody who's asking for money. And that's 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 a different type of determination that I don't have that type of determination. I couldn't ask for money like that. Um, but so thinking while I'm cleaning this gun, it actually makes me think of something that I wanted to talk with you guys about for a while. So when I got back from Afghanistan, my wife and I were gonna go on a vacation or a trip together. It's what we were going to, and we did. We went on a cruise to the Caribbean, and I know it's super random, but I kind of had a fear of zombies on the cruise ship. So I guess yeah, that probably sounds crazy to people too. But zombies are possible, and they're going to happen at some point. I believe it. I believe that zombies are going to happen. There are governments who are trying to create like super soldiers, and they're probably going to create something like a T virus that's going to reanimate people. I firmly believe it's going to happen at some point. Yeah, and we've seen stuff in the freaking news that makes me think that zombies are already around. They've just been covered up by somebody. Like that guy in Florida who ate the other guy's face, who like ate his nose and his eyes. Like why? That's that guy's a freaking zombie. Like they were talking about bath salts, but so I remember looking up the news article, and after a while, the conclusion was that he wasn't even on bath salts. I think they just said they found marijuana in his system, but I don't think they found anything else like bath salts, like they thought they would have. That guy was, I think he was a freaking zombie. I think he was one of the first zombies, and I think somebody just covered it up. I'm telling you. But zombies are going to happen at some point. You know, even if we're not thinking about like the undead type zombies, like something's going to happen, whether it be like some type of virus or some type of parasite. There's already parasites in the animal kingdom that take over their host and make them do crazy stuff. That exists already, and we know about these things. Um, like if you don't look it up, there are parasites that will be eaten by an insect or like an ant, and then it'll behave in a way that will cause the ant to be eaten by something bigger, and it'll basically work its way up the food chain, and it starts to take over and control each of those animals that it's inside of. Like that's crazy. That could be the way zombies happen. You know, almost kind of like that movie Slither. You see that? If you've seen it, comment. Let me know what you thought about. I thought it was a pretty decent movie. I love horror films. Definitely love horror films. But anyway, back to the cruise. So I legitimately, sincerely had this fear that there was going to be a zombie outbreak on the cruise, because you think about it. If you think about most zombie movies, the outbreak starts in like a confined area where people can't get out and it's able to spread quickly. And what I pictured is almost like this zombie outbreak happening, and then zombies taking over a ship, and then the ship eventually docks with land somewhere, and the zombies spread out all over that continent, and it just goes from there. The zombie apocalypse. It's gonna happen at some point. It's just a matter of when. So we're going on this cruise ship, and I'm thinking about this. Like people are asking me, like, "Are you excited for the cruise?" And the first thing I'm thinking is like, not really, because I'm worried about this zombie outbreak that's gonna happen at some point in our lifetime. Hopefully not, but it's gonna happen at some point. And so I know it's an irrational fear, and I know that the likelihood is not high, but that's kind of the nature of rational fears, right? They're difficult because a lot of times we even realize that they're not a likely thing, and yet even if there is, because of the fact that there might be some likelihood of it, we tend to still believe that the likelihood is much higher than it actually is, and that's kind of like one of my big ones. Like I'm all about preparing for the zombie apocalypse because it's gonna happen. It's dirty. I need to clean that. So, so I was kind of worried. So while I was on the cruise, it didn't keep me from enjoying myself on the cruise, but I did find myself like thinking about in different situations on the cruise how we would survive if there was a zombie outbreak. So what would we do? Where would we go? How would we get to the lifeboat quickly so that we could get away from the zombies? What weapons we could use on the cruise to make sure that we could defend ourselves from the zombies. So if you have irrational fears, please comment, let me know. There are things that I think a lot of people have them, and fears aren't the worst thing in the world. Like, yeah, it's annoying to be afraid of things, particularly irrational fears. But the only way that fears like this are truly bad is if they impact our life in a way that it keeps us from engaging activities that we would love to do, things that we value, things that we enjoy. Otherwise, it's not the worst thing in the world to have these types of fears. Only when it interferes with your life, only when it interferes with your life in some kind of way, that's when irrational fears become an actual problem. Or fears in general. Fear is a natural thing. Fear is there for a reason. All of our emotions developed for reasons. They're developed to tell us things about ourselves, to tell us things about the world around us. And oftentimes people treat fears like they're wrong, like it's like you shouldn't be afraid. No, fear serves a really good purpose. It serves the purpose of helping us to stay alive. When you let fear control you is when it becomes problematic. When it controls our actions. When we let our fear keep us from living our lives in the way that we'd want to live our lives. That is when fear becomes problematic. The barrel's nice and oiled. It's still oiled pretty well. I'm gonna snake it though. But a lot of times, when people have fears, pretty significant fears, they become so focused on those fears, and they tend to overestimate things. They overestimate, the likelihood that what they're afraid of will occur, and that's a big part of it, is that we can't let those fears control the way that we look at the world, look at ourselves. And so I didn't allow my belief or fear about zombies to control how I was on the ship. I just kind of was aware of the fact that, hey, I might have limited resources to kill zombies. I haven't watched The Walking Dead in a long time. I like that show. I don't even know if it's still going on. I'm way behind. We were watching it, me and my wife, before we got separated due to our duty stations in the military, and we stopped watching it when we couldn't watch it together anymore. And since then, we haven't ever picked it back up. I feel like there's something I need to do that I didn't do yet with this. My rag. But yeah, so zombies on my cruise ship. It didn't happen, so I didn't really expect there to be a zombie outbreak, but I wanted to be prepared for the eventuality of a zombie outbreak. One of my Facebook friends is always talking about being aware for the werewolf apocalypse. I think the zombie apocalypse is much more likely than the werewolf apocalypse. but I think they're both highly unlikely. But that's besides the point. But crazy thoughts. Everybody has thoughts that are kind of ridiculous or maybe even feel crazy to them at some point. But it's not the worst thing in the world. It only becomes an issue when those types of thoughts, you become really overly preoccupied with those types of thoughts. Like for a long time, especially when I was younger, I had this thought that what if I had like latent genes for to become a superhero? So you know how in a lot of superhero movies or superhero tales, it takes a certain stressor for the superhero's powers to come out. So I would think that what would it be? What would it take to bring out my own superpower? So there were times when I would think about like I would have to like crash my car, and not like to hurt myself, but my superhero power wouldn't come out until I put myself under significant stress. Kind of like Deadpool. You know, you have to put yourself under a sufficiently significant stressor to be able to bring out that that superpower in you. Looking good. Ooh, this thing is looking beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So my 17 is clean at this point. Clean, so fresh and so clean. Ain't nobody dope as me. Just so fresh, so clean. But I can't even put it back together because my hands aren't working. No, there we go. Stop at me. There we go. So. Okay, so push that. And we should be able to get this back on. Okay. I need to oil it. I can feel it. I didn't put the oil. So that's. Okay, so we can oil it now. Yeah, I could feel it wasn't oiled. It feels very different than. Okay, that should be good. But this past week has been kind of crazy with all the stuff going on with the alternate right. There we go. That's beautiful. Alternate right, like the neo-Nazis and the KKK all getting together and doing their marches. It's been a crazy week. Ooh. But it was hard because I think that the racism that's in America has been under wraps for some time. Just kind of been hidden. I think that a lot of people become complacent. I think I was complacent as well. That not that I believe that that the racism was gone in America, but that I just kind of didn't think about the fact that there are still things in our society, you know, inadequacies or inequalities in how people are treated and systemic problems. But I think I allowed myself to allow myself to really not think about those too terribly much at this point. But I think that one of the things that's at least good about what's going on is that now it's bringing these things to light. I think that a lot of people, I actually heard this. People were saying that because we had a black president that racism in America was over and wasn't no longer an issue. And it's unfortunate that it takes things like this for people to see that, yeah, it's still an issue. And a much bigger issue than many people realize, but it's a good thing. To me, that's a silver lining, is that if we want to, as a country, to get better, to be a beacon of light and hope for the rest of the world, we have to look at ourselves. We have to take a really deep look at ourselves and say, who are we? What do we really want to stand for? What do we want? How do we want the world to see us? We have the ability, we have the resources to be the greatest country in the world. But it comes down to, in part, how we treat each other. It's not about us versus them. It's all us. We're all in it together. We live together. And we're going to. Alternate right wants people to leave the country. They want to make a nation state for just white people. But it's not going to happen. I think that's an interesting proposition, because it's just not going to happen. You aren't just going to leave. People were brought to this country, some not of their own volition, some did to try to escape persecution. But people were here. People made lives for themselves, for their families, and oftentimes generations that have been in this country. And there's plenty for everybody in this country. And I think that's the thing that it's natural that people are concerned about resources. And one thing I've heard actually a few times is that a lot of people who are associating with who associate with the alternate right kind of see themselves as losing their voice, seeing white people as losing their voice within the nation. I think it's interesting to see that, to hear that argument that they're becoming voiceless or unheard. But I think the thing that they don't understand is that what they're seeing as losing their voice is actually other people just now having a voice. Before, other people, minorities like myself, we didn't have much of a voice, much of a say when it came to our destiny. And so now that we are gaining that, it feels to people like they're losing their voice. So with the playing field becoming more even, it's not even, I'm not saying it is even, but what I'm saying is becoming more even, it feels to some people like they are losing. And so it's an interesting thing to think about from that perspective, that they can't realize, they're not able to see that they're not being oppressed. Instead, other people are being less oppressed. And so that means they're having opportunities that they didn't have before. And so when you had an advantage before in life, and then you have that advantage taken away from you, I think it feels like oppression to people. When that's not what's happening, it's just other people are now having a chance and having a more even or balanced chance than they previously did. And so that's a really interesting thing to me, that people are seeing it. Oh no, that's not good. In such a fashion, and I can understand. I can to some extent I can even empathize with that. But I'm not saying it makes it right. But I can understand where some of them are coming from, because all of the fact that it's confusing, it's potentially even distressing to not have those advantages. To lose advantage that you have, it doesn't feel like losing advantage. It feels like you're being hurt or persecuted. And that's an interesting thought experiment to do. And I've actually been looking at that for some time now, just kind of putting myself in those shoes, right? Because a lot of people who have advantages, well, why would they want to give up their advantages? If you have advantages, if you have favors, if you are favored, why would you want to give that up? It's completely natural to want to keep that. My wife's calling. We're going to pause this. Sorry. Oops, she's gonna be mad at me. I was trying to type something in, let her know I was filming a video. Should leave a message. I completely forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, we're in an interesting position as a country. We're in a position uh, where we can take what we've learned about ourselves from these recent months. Like I think I was still deployed when like the election happened and all that, but we're learning more about ourselves each and every day, it seems. And we have a great opportunity ahead of us to do something to take these learnings, this knowledge that we're gaining, and to do something with it, to continue to improve and see if we can truly live out the American dream and make this a place where everybody has the opportunity to prosper and grow. But it's sad. It is sad to me. And it hurts to kind of, it hurts when people, you know that people hate you, that don't even know you. That's just that's a hard thing to swallow. To just accept that, hey, just because I look different from you, I never done anything to you, you're going to assume the worst about me. You're going to assume that I want to take from you, I want to hurt you, whatever it may be. Or maybe they don't even assume that. They just don't want to like me. But the converse side to that, so I was thinking about something the other day I found it kind of funny, is that, so reverse racism, like, is not really a thing. It's just not. But the closest thing that I thought to it is this, sometimes there are people that you see and I'm like, you look like you'd be racist. So, like if you go and watch a film of portrays like some extreme prejudice, things like that. There are people that they tend to put in those roles that just look like they would be racist. And if you've experienced racism in your life, it seems like there's like people who look certain ways. Like they have these characteristics that I don't know why, but part of me thinks like, hey, that person looks like they be more likely to be racist, which to me is like the closest thing I can think of to like reverse racism. And I kind of found myself, I was walking around in the hospital, and I was like, hey, that person looks like they have some of those characteristics. And it wasn't like I was gonna treat anybody differently because of it, but I just thought it was kind of funny. I was like, they look like somebody who would be in a movie and be super racist in a movie like this. Oh man, so my 19 baby, this is my baby. So I put it together. I need to oil it before I put it up. All my fingers. Oil it, then I'll be done. But you know, if you've made it this far in the video, you are one in a million probably. But thank you for listening to me. My ramble about random stuff. Thank you guys for watching. You know, drop a comment with things that you would like to hear about in terms of psychology, mental health stuff. If like whatever it may be, just let me know. I appreciate all of you for taking the time to listen, and I want to do what I can to help you, help as many people as I can. So, you know, share videos if you can, or let me know if there's some things you want to hear about. I appreciate it very much. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TSP Super Psych. I am the Super Psych. And ultimately, my goal is to help you, help me, help all of us make our tomorrow better than today. Thank you, and have a nice weekend. Bye.